Thousands of engineers are committing career suicide by mastering the wrong AI model. They are staring at Twitter benchmarks while the ground beneath their feet is being sold to the highest bidder. If you are still choosing your tech stack based on a reasoning graph, you aren't just behind. You are already obsolete. Most developers are asking which model is smarter, but the elite are asking who owns the paycheck. We are going beyond the surface level Gemini 3 review to expose the ecosystem match framework. This is the invisible line that separates developers fighting for startup scraps from the elite specialists commanding $500,000 packages. Over the next 15 minutes, we will compare Gemini 3 Pro, GPT 5.2 Pro, and Claude 4 Opus. We aren't just looking at coding ability, we are looking at real world career ROI. I am also going to reveal the 2026 AI salary roadmap, including why top tier Google AI engineers are now seeing total compensation packages averaging over $505,000. Stick around until the end because I will be sharing a decision flowchart tells you exactly which horse to bet on based on your specific background. It is the difference between being a replaceable generalist and an ecosystem specialist. The industry is splitting into two worlds, and 90% of you are on the wrong side of the divide. Are you building on the OpenAI stack right now, or have you already started experimenting with Vertex AI? Tell me in the comments which ecosystem is winning the mindshare war. Most developers are building SaaS wrappers. These are applications that essentially just pass prompts to an API and format the output. This is the GPT 5.2 crowd. It is a fast path to a product, but it is a crowded market where your skills have the shelf life of an open carton of milk. The top 10% have realized that Gemini 3 Pro is a gateway to embedded AI. This isn't just calling an endpoint, it is a completely different architecture. It is building agentic workflows natively integrated into the Android kernel, pulling real time, high fidelity data from Google Search and Maps, and managing massive enterprise datasets within Google Cloud. Mastering GPT 5.2 is like learning to build a great website. Mastering Gemini 3 is like learning to build the browser itself. One is a tool, the other is the platform that dictates how the tool is allowed to work. If you pick your model based solely on a reasoning benchmark, you are ignoring ecosystem gravity. Your salary isn't determined by how well you can prompt. It is determined by how deeply your skills are woven into the tech stacks of the companies that are hiring. In 2026, those companies aren't looking for general AI engineers. They are looking for specialists who can navigate the specific constraints and capabilities of a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem. That nagging suspicion that you might be betting on the wrong horse is a valid survival instinct. The generalist era is dead. You have to decide right now, do you want to be a SaaS developer fighting for startup equity or an embedded specialist commanding enterprise premiums? If you want to navigate this shift without wasting months of your career, I have put together the AI Career Roadmap PDF in the description. It is a specific guide to which certifications, like the Google AI Professional Certificate, actually carry weight in 2026. It will help you decide if you should double down on the OpenAI or Google ecosystem based on your salary goals. The war for the brain of your next application is being fought on three fronts. On one side, you have GPT 5.2 Pro, the logic king. On the other, Claude 4 Opus, the coding artisan. And then there is Gemini 3 Pro, the multimodal polymath. When looking at this Gemini 3 review from a technical standpoint, standard coding benchmarks like SWE Bench Verified show rankings that are razor thin. Claude 4 Opus leads the pack at 80.8%, followed closely by GPT 5.2 Pro at 77.3%. Gemini 3 Pro trails slightly at 76.2%. For most developers, this looks like a loss for Google. They see these numbers and think, why would I switch to a model that is technically worse at coding? Benchmarks are a lie designed to keep you comfortable. Coding in a sandbox is not the same as coding in production. When you move from standard syntax to novel pattern recognition, the kind of problem solving you need when building a brand new system architecture, the script flips entirely. In the RKGI2 reasoning benchmark, Gemini 3 Pro absolutely decimated the competition, scoring 77.1%. Compare that to GPT 5.2, which struggled at 52.9%. GPT 5.2 is a brilliant professor locked in a library with no windows. He knows everything in the books, but he doesn't know what is happening outside right now. Gemini 3 is different. It is standing on the roof with a telescope. This is the unfair advantage. Gemini 3 isn't just a static model, it is natively grounded in Google's real time index. Through Vertex AI, it can pull live data from Google Search, Maps, and Workspace. Because Gemini 3 can see the live web, its utility for context heavy tasks is unmatched. If you are tasked with a legacy code migration, GPT 5.2 might give you cleaner syntax for a single function, but Gemini 3 can search for the most recent documentation of a deprecated library, find the breaking changes from last week, and refactor the entire module based on real time data. The intelligence of 2026 isn't just about logic, it is about integration. GPT 5.2 is trying to think its way to the answer. Gemini 3 is trying to contextualize its way there. Intelligence is one thing. The ability to see an entire enterprise codebase at once is where the game truly changes. Most AI models today suffer from goldfish memory. Even with the advancements in GPT 5.2 Pro and its 400,000 token window, there is a hard ceiling. You feed it a few long documents and suddenly it starts hallucinating or forgetting the instructions you gave it 10 minutes ago. In a production environment, that memory wall is where good AI goes to die. Gemini 3 Pro has effectively shattered that wall with its industry leading 1 million token context window. We are talking about the ability to process over 700,000 words, or nearly an hour of video in a single prompt. This isn't just a bigger bucket for data, it is a fundamental shift in how we build AI agents. When you have a million tokens of active memory, you stop building chatbots and you start building digital employees. Think about the Imperial War Museums. They recently partnered with Capgemini to use Gemini powered agents to process 20,000 hours of historical oral history recordings. This was an inaccessible mountain of audio transformed into a searchable, interactive digital archive. Gemini didn't just transcribe it, it extracted metadata and created summaries across decades of content without losing the thread. That is a task that would have crashed almost any other model on the market. Imagine dropping a 2,000-page technical manual into Gemini 3 Pro. Imagine asking it to find a single logic flaw in the third chapter that contradicts a safety protocol in the final appendix. In a live environment, Gemini can find that needle in the haystack in under 3 seconds. The role of document researcher is officially dead. If your value is just knowing where the information is, you have already been replaced. If you are feeling the AI fatigue, drop a yes in the comments. It is a lot to keep up with, and we are all in this together. Here is the unfair advantage most people are missing. It isn't just the size of the window, it is the ecosystem gravity. Gemini 3's context window is natively integrated into the Android kernel and the Google Search API. This allows for what developers are calling vibe coding. Using Google AI Studio, you can upload a screenshot of a UI you like, prompt Gemini 3 Pro to build this in React, and then use the integrated environment to refactor and deploy it to Google Cloud in one click. We saw this with Planet 13, where they used Gemini 3's vibe coding and automation to reduce the time it took to build functional client demos from 20 minutes down to under 5. They deployed a production-ready appointment setter that qualifies leads and syncs with Google Calendar, all while maintaining the reasoning state across long horizon tasks. The API volume reflects this shift. Google Gemini API requests hit 85 billion in January 2026, a 142% increase year over year. Developers are flocking to this because the pricing is aggressive, $2 per million input tokens. Even if you double that for the long context mode, it is still significantly more efficient for enterprise scale data than the heavy subscription stacking required for GPT 5.2 Pro. Start building context window projects. Stop making simple weather apps or basic CRUD tools. Build something that requires processing massive, messy datasets like legal discovery, medical record analysis, or legacy code migration. These are the embedded AI roles that are currently desperate for talent. If you want to stay ahead of these ecosystem shifts, hit subscribe right now. We track these changes every single week, looking past the hype to show you where the actual hiring is happening so you don't have to guess which horse to bet on. I want to tell you about an engineer named Alex who lost 6 months of his career by ignoring one simple truth. Alex was a senior dev who spent months mastering Gemini 3 Pro. He built incredible demos using vibe coding and managed complex Salesforce pipelines. On paper, he was elite. Yet, when he applied to high growth startups in San Francisco, he hit a wall. The feedback was always that they needed deeper GPT 5.2 experience. Alex had the skills, but he was knocking on the wrong doors. He was a specialist in the wrong stadium. The AI market in 2026 is a map divided by ecosystem gravity. Fast moving startups want GPT 5.2 Pro for rapid iteration. On the other hand, the giants, the Fortune 500s, and healthcare providers are desperate for Gemini 3 specialists to handle data gravity. They need engineers who can navigate Tier 2 API requirements and build agents inside existing GCP infrastructure. Alex eventually pivoted to a major logistics firm. Because he understood Gemini 3's native integration with Google Maps and its ability to process massive shipping manifests, he didn't just get the job. He came in at a level he didn't think was possible. To avoid Alex's mistake, you have to choose your territory before you build your portfolio. If you decide the Google ecosystem is your path, you need to change your tactics immediately. First, stop looking at general job boards. Start doing direct outreach to GCP partnered recruiters. These are specialized firms that focus specifically on embedded AI agent roles for companies already locked into the Google stack. Tell them specifically that you specialize in long context multimodal architecture. Those are the magic words that signal you understand Gemini's unique strength over GPT 5.2. Second, you need to optimize your GitHub. Most devs just post AI projects. That is a generalist move. Instead, tag your projects specifically as context window optimized. Show a project where you have dropped a massive dataset, like the entire documentation for a legacy banking system, and built a Gemini powered agent that maintains reasoning state without context drift. This proves you aren't just another dev calling an API. It proves you can handle the heavy lifting that enterprises actually pay for. Model superiority is a distraction. Your career is determined by how well you align your skills with the gravity of the companies that need them most. To wrap up this Gemini 3 review, let's look at the actual dollars and cents for 2026, because the salary gap between these two paths is wider than you think. The data from Six Figure is startling. In 2026, the average Google AI engineer is commanding a base salary of $341,000. But when you factor in total compensation, the stock options, the bonuses, and the ecosystem incentives, that number jumps to an average of $505,000. For the top 1% of earners in this space, we are looking at $1.53 million a year. Compare that to the generalist SaaS market. While still lucrative, SaaS AI roles are averaging around $180,000. Meanwhile, embedded AI roles at Google Stack companies are paying a 20% premium right now. Why? Because of talent scarcity. This scarcity is your opportunity. Here is your homework. Tonight, I want you to look at your last 3 projects. Were they SaaS wrappers or embedded agents? Tell me your score in the comments. You have to be honest with yourself about where you want to play. This is the grand payoff. The decision flowchart that determines your next 12 months. OpenAI still holds 64% of the market share, which means 64% of developers are fighting for the same GPT-focused roles. Google Gemini's share has nearly quadrupled in a single year, growing from 5% to over 21%. The demand for engineers who can navigate the Gemini 3 ecosystem is exploding, but the supply of engineers who actually understand long context architecture is almost non existent. Ask yourself, do you want to work for a high speed startup where you are building consumer facing apps, iterating every 48 hours, and chasing the next viral SaaS trend? If the answer is yes, then double down on GPT 5.2 Pro. Master its thinking mode and its superior tool calling reliability. You will be part of the most vibrant developer community on earth, even if the competition is fierce. On the other hand, do you prefer the stability and scale of the enterprise world? Do you want to solve massive, complex problems for Fortune 500 companies? or build AI that is natively baked into the Android ecosystem. If you want to be the person who manages 85 billion API requests for a global conglomerate, then Gemini 3 Pro is your horse. If you choose the Gemini path, you have to deal with the subscription stacking tax and Google's Tier 2 barrier. Don't complain about the $250 spend requirement or the 30-day wait to unlock production ready rate limits. View that as a moat. That barrier keeps the casual hobbyists out and protects the salaries of the specialists who are willing to cross it. So, what is your Monday morning move? Pick one ecosystem based on that logic. Don't try to be a master of both. In 2026, the subscription stacker who pays $200 a month for access to every model but masters none is the one who gets left behind. If you choose Google, your first step is the Google AI Professional Certificate on Coursera. It is 7 courses, takes about 10 hours, and it often includes a 3-month trial of Gemini Pro that bypasses those standard free tier rate limits. Once you have that foundation, commit to one deep dive project this week. Not a chatbot, build an analyst agent. Use Gemini 3 Pro to ingest a massive multimodal dataset. Maybe it is a collection of 50 long-form technical videos or a 1,000-page legal archive. Use its native multimodality to extract insights that GPT 5.2 simply cannot see. The 90% are watching these developments with anxiety, wondering if they are learning the wrong thing. They are the generalists who will be fighting for the leftovers of the SaaS market. The 10% understand that intelligence is now a commodity, but ecosystem expertise is a goldmine. They aren't just using AI, they are embedding it into the very fabric of the world's largest companies. At the start of this video, I asked if you were in the 90% or the 10%. If you have made it this far, you already have the roadmap to be in the 10. You know the benchmarks are a distraction. You know that Gemini's context window is a career-defining unfair advantage. And you know exactly what the salary stakes are for 2026. Are you going to be the engineer who builds the future or the one who just watches it happen from the sidelines? The choice is yours. Pick your horse, build your moat, and I will see you at the top.